What's going on, guys? This is G Logan TN, and I'm going to be walking you through the trophies that I collected and games I completed during the month of March 2017. As you see here, I got a couple of PSN games at 100%, as well as a couple of new platinums. It's first going to work chronologically, starting at the first. So on the 4th of March, I finished NBA 2K17. The Prelude, super insanely ridiculous easy game. You see, I completed it in 3.5 hours, um, and it's a game that requires literally zero skill. You can pretty much just or simulate rather, most of the games, go through the motions. There's a guide here. It says 2 hours. I think that's kind of generous, but definitely probably not take you that long. You'll see on PSN profiles, people are earning this in under an hour. Certainly under an hour and a half. You see basically the first 50 people are all under an hour and a half. So definitely a game if you wanted to just pick up purely for the sake of getting the points, leveling up your trophy level in your account. Definitely not the game to get if you're actually wanting to play a basketball game. I find it extremely interesting that this game has absolutely zero relation to actual basketball and is so easy in comparison to the actual NBA games, which are notorious for being insanely hard games to complete. But again, I feel like this was free at some point. That's the reason. Only reason I had it. I could be wrong. Maybe I just picked it up because it was like $1 or $2 or whatever. But insanely easy, 100%. So I definitely recommend picking up this game if you are looking to level up your account easily, quickly. Next up on the 6th, we have Stick It to the Man, which is the first of the PlayStation Plus collection games that you'll see on my account. Games that I picked up for free at some point. I feel like this is no, I think Stick It to the Man actually was quite a ways back, but I finally got around to knocking it out, and you'll see I got it in a week and 21 hours, which is way longer than you need to complete the game. Um, I I can't remember what something happened. I started the game and then ended up coming back to it after the fact. But you see here on this website, just for the record, I use PSN profiles pretty much across the board. But I'm looking up anything trophy related. I feel like this site has got the best UI and the best availability of information. You can kind of see anything you want to see on this website. So I like to go to the 100% club because you can see the fastest achievers, kind of get an idea. Like you or I probably not going to be able to do this in 51 minutes, but certainly, if that's 51 minutes, I can probably do it in 2 hours. That's kind of the way I look at this. Typically, when I'm looking up games to kind of get an idea of how long it's going to take, certainly you see all these people under an hour and a half. Pretty straightforward game. There's a trophy guide for this one as well, and I pretty much, if there's a guide on here, you can rest assured that I probably used it. So yeah, you just go straight down through the guide. Pretty simple game. I was trying to see. I don't think there's anything missable. Could be wrong. I honestly don't remember. Overall straightforward game. Nothing really to tell other than that. I would say it's the best game I've ever played, but I have certainly played a lot worse. So let's go back. And next we have Day of the Tentacle Remastered, which you see this is a game that I actually kind of got straight through rather than having to take a break and do other things and come back to. But the second game on the list, that is a PlayStation Plus game. Kind of to reiterate, the first two games here are PSN games that were non-platinum trophies, but just rather 100% games. The next two on our list are going to be platinum trophies that I earned, which I believe were something in the neighborhood of 122 and 123 for my collection overall. But as I mentioned, this was a free game. I think this was maybe January, so a more recent game. Hopefully you added this to your collection when it came up. It's definitely a game worth playing if you kind of want that nostalgic factor. It's a game from either the 90s, early 2000s. It's a pretty old game that they touched up for this, and it's just a quirky, funny game, not to be taken too seriously. There's a guide for it as well. You see it's 6 hours, 2 out of 10. Um, you could probably do it in less than 6 hours, to be honest, but definitely a good game nonetheless. You see, like I said, 6 hours being generous because you see people are knocking it out in an hour and 7 minutes, hour and a half, hour 45, and we go way down here just to get over the 2 hour mark. So definitely a game if you wanted to sit down and really knock it out. You could definitely knock the first couple of games that I'm going to go over. You could probably knock them out all out in one afternoon. So definitely some games to pick up if you're thinking about trying to boost up the level of your account. Next up, we got Coffin Dodgers, another really bad game. No bugs or anything like that. Plays fine. It's just there's not a lot of substance to it. You see, I earned this game in 1 day and 7 hours, which was definitely not. Definitely didn't sit here and play for 18, 20 straight hours or anything. You see on here, people are getting this in somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 2.5 hours. I think that's pretty reasonable. 4 hours, you'll probably be all but 1 or 2 trophies in under 2 hours. There's a trophy for the Uzi is going to be the tough one. I think it's buried in here somewhere. Yeah, feeling lucky. It's a Mario Kart style game where you're going to race around the track. There's pickups, so there's like oil spills, that sort of thing, to knock off the other drivers, shoot rockets, that sort of thing. Everything will come pretty naturally except for this Uzi trophy. I think it must be on PlayStationTrophies.org that there's a video that someone posted that helps me tremendously. There's a specific track you can go to where it seems like you'll get a ton of Uzi power-ups rather than, you might go through a whole race and maybe only get 1 Uzi power-up, and then you waste that entire Uzi and not even get a single kill. And so that's what makes that trophy really drag out the overall completion time. There's a specific track you can find that seems to, for whatever reason, just have tons of Uzi pickups in it. So definitely recommend checking out. I'm sure you can find it on the internet somewhere, but that definitely helped me. But yeah, overall, a laughable game. If you can get it on sale, I would, but certainly don't pay 10, 15 bucks or whatever some of these PSN games are going for these days. Up next, what's this, the third PlayStation Plus free game on the list? I got Disc Jam. Not a platinum here, but actually a really fun game. And probably one of the more enjoyable games. One of the more enjoyable games that we've got for the PS Plus, dating back to the Resoguns and the Rocket Leagues of the world. This was a really fun game. Definitely if you were doing some couch co-op or playing with friends online, this would be definitely a good game worth checking out. A lot of fun. Trophy list is super easy and very straightforward. So, the advanced tutorial was kind of tricky, I'll be honest. And I just went straight through these tutorials. So it says here that it took me 11 minutes to do the advanced tutorial, and I honestly felt like that took more time than anything else in the game did. There's some tricky flicks of the sticks you have to do some different throws, but if you can get past that, it's straightforward. It's basically a win a match with all the characters, all that sort of thing. The doubles match. Okay, so the doubles match and the 50 online matches are the only trophies you can't get with 2 controllers. If you have 2 controllers, you can self-boost everything except for those. The doubles match probably takes 5 or 10 minutes of playing online doubles matches, and you'll probably get a win either your first or second try, knock out that. But this is going to be the long haul. And most likely, I can't imagine it not being the last trophy you earn. But even this, let's see, what was my completion? 12 hours, 10 hours. That was basically just one Saturday. I downloaded the game and played through it that day. Just casually playing online games throughout the day. And I actually was doing doubles matches, not doing singles, but rather doubles. Because what I found was, and maybe they've fixed the server since then, but when I was doing this near launch, you'd end up with 4 people. One of the people on the other team wouldn't load in, or would just, I guess they had put their controller down and walked away or whatever. So probably 10 of the 50 matches I had to win were just purely because somebody got disconnected, or the other person was, AFK, and eventually the other person on their team that was there would just quit out because they didn't want to play with an AFK person. So yeah, it seriously was probably at least 10 of my 50 wins for that. But definitely a fun game. So even if it does take you longer, you'll definitely enjoy it. Trophy guide for this game as well. See, they got 5 hours listed. It's kind of funny. It took 3 people to write a trophy guide for a 5-hour game. Yeah, this is definitely a game that if you really wanted to invest a lot more time in, you could. And I played against some people that were just somehow so much better than everyone else, even within playing the first week of launch. But definitely a fun game. I would check it out, regardless of trophies. Next up, the infamous Destiny. So this one holds a special place in my heart, and I'll be honest, I got a little emotional unlocking this platinum. What you'll see here is I played this game at launch in 2014 and got probably somewhere between 80 and 90% completion on the platinum within a month or two. But at the time, the LFG sites online hadn't quite blown up like they have now. And so with just 2 friends that I was playing with, the raids were basically out of the question. There was no way for us to do them. So we eventually just kind of quit and moved on to other things. So like outside of that Warlock and the collectibles, basically everything else was from 2014 except for these guys right here. The Flawless Raider should come as no surprise if you ever played Destiny. Everyone knows that this is the trophy that will prevent you from getting the platinum. Luckily, I wish I had known at the beginning. All you have to do is just wait about 3 years and everything will be so easy. You can just fly through it rather than spending countless hours over 3 years trying to get people to do this a more legit way. But anyway, so about a month ago, I finally got this, and it was just a magical night, mostly because I did it with 6 people from this website, and all 6 of us were in the same boat where this was the only trophy we needed for the platinum. Now, in my case, I actually needed the hard raid as well, and that was something I put off just because this didn't matter without this. So once I got this, it was like, let me knock out the hard difficulty, and then boom, got the platinum. With that being said, I actually now want to go back and finish these DLCs. As you see, I have none for the Rise of Iron DLC, but I actually want to play these now that I've got the platinum, because for about 2.5 years, Destiny just left a sour taste in my mouth without that platinum, so all this seemed irrelevant. But like I said, eventually knocked it out, and really, really excited about finally having that one. And up next, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. 5 months and 2 weeks. Definitely shouldn't have taken me this long. It actually probably took me 3 or 4 days, all things considered, with a huge gap in the middle. I can honestly say now I know why everyone was so hyped about this game. It was as good as advertised, in my opinion. And I definitely understand why people wanted to take it back to the roots and kind of give up on the futuristic stuff, but rather going backwards in time. Because there was just something about the feel of these guns in your hand, just the natural, realistic feeling of these guns. It just made for an incredible experience that I had never had the chance to play. So basically, if you were to go through the list, you would see that over the course of the first 3 days or so of launch, the first 3 or so days in October, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, I got well over halfway through the campaign, which in turn unlocked the majority of the trophies. Then I just ran against a wall in the bog, I think it was. It was the one where you go to the back of the farm and then you kind of have to work your way back out to the front. No, I think it was Heat. I got stuck on that mission. And I played it for hours. She kept dying over and over and over and over because I was trying to be, efficient, play just one playthrough. I'm veteran, knock the whole thing out and move on. Ran into a brick wall and eventually just walked away basically till March, 5 months. Once I came back, I think I ended up running through the entire rest of the platinum in like 4 hours or something like that. So right here, this is where I came back after 5 months and a week. And so that put me at 5 weeks, 13 hours. 5 months, 2 weeks, 13 hours, which you'll see is 5 months, 2 weeks, and 19 hours. So just 6 hours later, I finished the platinum. So I waited 5 months just for six hours of gameplay. I just wish I would have knocked it out when it came out, but either way, I was really excited to kind of knock that one out. Definitely, I went into Infinite Warfare like, why are all these people so excited about this remaster? I feel like it's just kind of an add-on and it's just there. And now I know why everyone was so upset that it could have genuinely been the other way around. Like, we're going to sell you the remastered and Infinite Warfare comes with it. That's essentially how I know so many people were looking at it. So that was on the 21st. Home stretch now, we've got Horizon Zero Dawn, which, it speaks for itself. It's definitely one of the best games that have come out in quite some time. And, it's, trying to think the best way to explain it. It's kind of ridden the wave of emotions in terms of it came out and it was kind of touted as the greatest game of all time. And then because it came out with so much hype before and even after launch, I feel like then that made so many more people critique it even one more degree. And now it's actually started to come down from where it started. I was looking at this earlier. I want to say it's 89, is that right? And an 82 user score. Yeah, so when this came out, it was like a 95 or 94, 93, something like that. And it was like, wow, this could really be one of those games. And I think, the people that were like, the purists were like, no, we can't have a game rated this high, so we've got to start figuring out ways to cut it down. And yes, it was not a perfect game. But for me, it was exactly what I wanted from a game. The trophy list could not be better. It's got just enough collectibles, just enough exploration with the 6 tall necks, I think it was. I think that was perfect. Just enough skill in terms of going to the camps and getting the full suns. Just enough story. There were probably like 100 side quests in the game, but you only had to do about 10 or 15, maybe, to get all the quests for various things. Like I said, I felt like this was perfect. Leveling was just enough. I actually finished reaching level 50 about halfway through the main quest because I had done so much exploration. So, if anything, there could have been more levels. As opposed to, I've played so many games where you end up finishing the game at like level 28 and have to grind to 50, and it seems like it takes forever of doing nothing but pointless grinding. So, if anything, there were too little amount of levels. But like I said, it's definitely not a perfect game. But so I guess 89 is fair. I would personally put it in the 90s. I felt like it was that good of a game. But yeah, so this is one where it took me 3 weeks and 1 day, and it was purely because I was recording it as I was going, and so I could only record so much at a time. But based on how much I was enjoying it, I literally could have like just done it in maybe a week because I was enjoying it that much. I was just getting lost in it and playing it for hours and hours and hours without really thinking about it. Whereas some other games, you play it for an hour or two and you're like, all right, I need a break from this. Horizon was not that game for me. Last up, back to a PSN game, we have The Fall, which I completed in 2 days and 9 hours, which is pretty hysterical considering the 100% Club. There are people doing it less than an hour. This was just a case of me, unlike Horizon, where it was just a game that I was just literally just pushing myself to hurry and get this over with. Not a game that I was thoroughly enjoying. So it was like, I'll play this as a good chance, but I wasn't really into it, wasn't really invested. But if you're looking for an easy game, you can get it for cheap. It's a nice, 300 points here. So that'll help boost your account level. But other than that, there's really not much to say. It's just a pretty straightforward game for some easy trophies. Yeah, that wraps up my trophy collection for the month of March. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything you see that I missed, like the one that's sitting right in the middle of the screen, Black Ops 3, the game that just will not die. So if you got any comments, questions about any of the games I've played, I'd be more than happy to lend any advice, like I did with the Coffin Dodgers, where I was talking about the Uzi power-up. If you have any questions about stuff like that, I'll be glad to help in the comments below. I've got a pretty good collection of sources that I use for various things, so I can typically find an answer to anything. If you got a question, I'll be happy to help. But yeah, subscribe. I'll try to keep this sort of as a running series, try to go through my trophies as I get them, let you know what I think about the game, if it's a stinker or if it's something worth playing. And yeah, we'll go from there. I look forward to making more videos and talking to you guys in the future.